you're creating a new document, you can so I'll first make sure I'll work with the reflection of contrast in typefaces in typography. So first is let's create a particular. So if you have this particular regular font with this word typography, I want to try to call attention to it or something. We can play around with it by giving it importance. So one of the importance we can give it is change the property to something very bold, very bold. So we have to increase this a bit or reduce the size. Let's reduce the size. So it's very bold. So now we can also try to play with it in several ways, which I will make use of one. So I can to call attention when it comes to contrast and try to take off this and make it regular. Let's see, it's not looking very distinctive, so we should know something. This will make us understand that whenever you're even working with a particular typeface, a particular font, and you try to blend contrast together, maybe you increase the boldness of a particular font, so try to take the boldness twice away, not just this exactly the same. Like this is a perfect example now. We have regular, and the next thing we have semi bold and bold. So if you can get something as thinner, something more thin than this, then let's see. Okay, we have enough bold condensed. So let's try to increase this bold condensed. Okay, it's condensed now. Bold condensed will not be nice. Semi-bold, see, bold is the thickest. So let's just change the properties, the complete properties of the font, so that we can get perfect example. I still really don't like the reflection of what we're having, but we can actually adjust that by coming to Novera. Let's use Novera. So just you check the particular typeface that has much of this font properties that you can really play with. So this is a perfect example of what we need. So trying to create a blend of contrast, which we have classic black. As you can see, we have several font categories here. So I can decide to make this. So this is a perfect way of creating contrast. Even if we say this is too thin, we can still bring it or improve the font properties here. We can bring it to regular, which is also good enough, and we can use light. So I think the light is with typography. So this is a perfect way of showing contrast. And take note of something. I want us to understand that in design, opposites attracts a lot. So we should know that whenever we make a particular design and we try to use a blend of the opposite of a particular element, we are also making emphasis. We are calling attention to that particular thing. So let's take note of that. So as we know, bold and slim is an opposite. And as we also know that, let's see this. We have serif. We have sans serif here, and let's make this serif. Let's see if we are going to have something cool, maybe. Okay. So this is also a perfect example. This is also a perfect example of opposite attracts. So the font category is limited. We would have loved to travel or go further. Let's see this. Okay, I think yes. So this is a perfect example of opposite attract. So let us try to know opposites attract, not just in typography, even in shapes and all of that. So one of the rules also is whenever we are working with typography, just we should not just make the make use of all the classifications of typefaces that we have. It will make our design look disorganized, to make our design look disordered. So we should make sure to use, is either you stick with a particular typeface and use the blend of its fonts, or you just use, can stick with, since you know opposite attracts, you can stick with the serif and sans serif, or you can even use one, just serif alone. Take note of that. Now, I was saying something about the rule in typography about not trying to use display fonts as a content, as a body copy section of the design. So which I'll, let's say a body copy is about, fill it in with placeholder text. Now this is a serif font. So we can adjust with same font. Let's give it, well, 12 is okay. Now, so imagine we now try to make a blend here and change all of these to script fonts. It's going to look, let's see this. So now, definitely this will be difficult to read, very difficult to relate with. This is not what we call, this is not legibility. This is not legibility. So let us try to understand that whenever you're working with text or working with typography or typefaces, take note of two key things: legibility and readability. Legibility is the ability to actually read what is in the content of a typeface. Now, this isn't legible enough. So it would have been so nice if it's just a particular line. Imagine you try to read this over and over and over and over and read all of the content. You get tired. Your eyes get suffered. Let me use that word. Your eyes get stressed. So most times display fonts, script fonts are best used as emphasis. They are not used as body copies. So let's take note of that. Let's go back to, then we can go back to, and you can see the huge difference between that, the scripts for body copy, and now we're back to sans serif for body copy. You can see the huge difference. Let's use the regular and drop down the sizes. You can see the difference. It's just so clear. You can increase the tracking. Increase the tracking here depending on how one is. And so that's one. For real legibility, the text, the typeface needs to be should be readable, should be accessible. And for readability, the way it will be read should be understandable. So that means we should actually not position in such a way that we get it very we make our viewers get confused on where to start this test from and where to end it from. So that means we should, part of this aspect of let me reduce this tracking. part of this will now talk about justification and the alignment of a test. So when we are trying to align a test and we tend to put it or align a test, okay, let's align a test in such a way that it won't be readable, something of this nature. So we definitely find it difficult to read because as we all know that the eyes travel from left hand side to right hand side. So in this nature, find it very difficult for it to find difficult for readability to take place here. So it won't be readable in this manner. So if we have an alignment of the left and we can actually play along with it, and also when it comes to paragraphs, we should know that the first line does not or should not include a paragraph. This is a perfect example now. So in a situation whereby we tend to create um, first line paragraph in this is actually very wrong for the first line, but it's okay for the second line. But for this first line, it's okay. It's wrong, but for the second line, it's okay. Why is it wrong here? Because the essence of paragraph is to create or to express legibility in terms of where to start from, where it should be read from. This particular section is different from this particular section. That's the essence of paragraph. So now we all know that this session is a new session. So there is no point trying to create a new paragraph here because with just this alone, because there is no text on top of it, this space is the negative space is enough. The negative space here is enough to let us know that this is a new section and this is where to start from. So this particular section now needs it because we know it's adjoining, it continues from a particular previous text content. So this is the way it should actually work. So if you have something of this nature, then this should not have, then this should have. So this is the best way to actually communicate legibility also whenever we are making tests for body copies. So during the course of like I said, during the course of the previous videos, I said a lot of things about principles of typefaces, which we should also take note and implement them in typographies. And also, whenever we're using or working with typography, we should know that the numbers of characters here also matters because when the length of one line is longer than usual or the longer than the standard length, the eyes get bored and it find it very difficult to relate or find difficult to read or communicate. So now the length of a particular character should be within the range of 45 to 90. What do I mean by that? That means if I'm actually selecting this, let's go to view and see window info to see the particular. Now if we check just a line, I will see that the number of character in that line is 70. In a situation whereby we now tend to this is still okay. Like I said, it should be 45 to 90. So in a situation whereby we now tend to adjust, let's see, and reduce. Let's see how many numbers of characters we have here. Numbers of 45. This is still legible enough. Now this is out of legibility. This is out of legibility. So 35 characters including the lines. It does not really make sense. It's really not good enough. So we can try to increase and check 39 is not good enough. It should be 45 to 90. 45 to 90. So this is a perfect one. This is a perfect one. In a situation whereby we find it difficult to keep expanding, we can reduce this test size so as to contain more. Can reduce the test size so as to contain more. So for something of this nature, then we can actually, so about the alignment, we are starting from left to right, and we can make the justification. What the justification does is it makes this text be in a particular column. So something of this nature. So this is a perfect example. But in this manner, we can decide to remove hyphenate or leave hyphenate. You can decide to remove hyphenate or leave hyphenate. So there are still there are still more things that or more discoveries you find when it comes to the use of typography, because it's very interesting. Thank you for staying to the end of the class.